Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, rage across New York. In this scene, set to the sept of the green, Tim Point is walking back to the cabin from the edge of the lake, probably feet still a bit damp, holding a handful of small clay pots that she has been working on further over the course of the day. But considering her interest in escaping a very, very enthusiastic Galliard, she has decided to relocate back to the cabin to finish her handiwork in carving and scratching designs onto the sides of the nearly dried clay. So she will be wandering back, looking, if anything, a bit relieved, and of course is in the Tellurian. So this is a particular howl as she does so. But yeah, we'll soon enough be approaching the porch, and if no one is on it, we'll be climbing the porch and moving over to one of the tables to continue her etching.
Handy if I didn't unmute myself. Aidan Lynch has just literally come off his Umbral Guardian patrol. He, is walking through the tour and he has a paper and he has some tea bags, standard stuff. He'll walk up on and he'll see 10 Point after hearing a particular lovely howl. And he won't say anything at first. He'll probably just pass her idly by actually pretty quickly to the point where she just notices the door closing, opening, and he comes out with tea and a paper. And he'll sit down on the porch and just open up the paper and he'll hear the proud daughter of Stag. That is a very fitting name for you, 10 Point.
She will probably have moved initially to pay proper respect, only for him to slip inside very rapidly. So when he emerges again, she's this time a bit more alert to it and has slipped from her seat onto a knee and is tilting up her chin about time he starts reading this paper and goes distinctly pale.
What do they call you now? First it was Hunter's Boon, now Heinz Mercy.
Oh dear.
Seems you're making all sorts of friends with the Galliards.
I did not mean to bring about a deed name, Raya.
You must have done something worthy of a deed name.
The new Galliard, I believe his name is Shinlo, sat with Slate and myself at the lake and was very, very interested in our exploits. I imagine that he took particular interest in my talk of calling the Hind influence to the Sept. Maria.
I see. Well, that should be interesting enough. He does seem like the enthusiastic fellow. Still hasn't put down the paper, he's just reading.
She decides that this is the appropriate time to go a little bit deeper into paying her respects, because taking a knee is not enough. And is he just sitting on the porch itself or sitting in a chair?
Sitting in a chair with his legs crossed, reading.
And yeah, she will do as she often does and relocate to a point right alongside one of his ankles. And will fall to both her knees and just kind of settle there, hands in her lap, eyes down on her hands. And wait for him to finish reading.
Are you not going to say anything to me about it? Do you think you're worthy of such a deed name?
Right. Pardon? Right, I had hoped to one day be worthy of a deed name, but I cannot see myself as any more worthy than you see me as.
Just keep reading and like turn the page. I see. Well, I don't really mind. We'll see what the others say.
She's still looking a little pale there. There is definitely, some of those key signs of total dread.
Well, I don't mind it. I'm sure Balin will have a say, and I'm sure Banshee will have a particular say, but hey, it should be all in fun.
I hope that they appreciate that I did not go seeking a name.
Well, I don't know that, do I? I mean, the only way to ask that is to go talk to Shinlo himself, really, isn't it?
If you do not believe me, Raya, of course. But if you have little faith in me, I would hope you would at least have faith in your lessons.
I suppose. We'll see. I mean, I don't trust Halate's word because she just lies the whole time. As I said, if they want to name you and do whatever, who gives a shit? Take them into your bosom and make sure that they love and abide by your presence. After all, sure didn't Banshee tell us to maintain good relations?
There's definitely some doubt lingering on her features. Of course, Raya.
You've got more important things to be worrying about if some stargazer wants to give you a name.
Yes, of course.
And continue reading. You will see that stare though that's in the picture every now and again. Though it is like that judging stare.
Oh, she is. She may catch it on the periphery, but is very studiously doing her best to keep her eyes down on her hands. She's not going to get caught meeting a fucking stare. Nope. Not today.
So did he treat you right then, this new boy?
He offered us tea, Raya.
Does that? He actually just say not what not a spite. He just says he does that.
He also mentioned that the last time you were offered tea, Raya, you saw fit to pour whiskey in it.
Tastes like shite.
No, for what it is worth, he mentioned that William White did much the same.
Shrugs. It tasted like shite.
It is still an offering of hospitality, Raya.
I did, and I asked could I strengthen it up. Do you seem to doubt my tone at all? You actually will put the paper down, and I mean the stare is intense. Because I noticed you seem to be nagging me a lot lately.
I am merely looking to do my duty, Raya.
Because I seem to notice, do you not think I'm capable of interacting with the other guru in this sept?
Do you want an honest answer, Raya?
Might as well. Let's hear it.
Your temper and your ambition, Raya, are reason enough to be cautious. I do not doubt your ability to understand what must be done.
I see. So that makes me a liability then, does it?
It makes you Guru, Raya.
But not the guru that you want, is it? Is that it?
Raya, if all Guru were even-tempered and well-mannered, the role of Omega would not exist.
So why are you... You just shrug. I'm capable of being polite. I was polite to the boy, and I don't need to justify myself every time I do an action.
I simply meant to mention it, Raya.
Did he take offense?
He did not, but if he was willing to mention it in front of both one of your pack mates and one not of your pack, it is very possible he will mention it to others.
I see. So now I have... He'll just... I mean, actually, Aiden will take a rage. And yes, you'll see it. He just folds his fists. Right. Because this is all I fucking need.
My concern was much abated when he pointed out that William White did much the same thing. At least in that case, it is not assumed as some sort of slight.
Right. I see. He'll just kind of, stand up and you see he is noticeably pissed off.
No, she's keeping a careful, peripheral glance at him and just the tension with which he's moving around, etc. She's not budging, though.
So from now on, then, I should just smile and be completely polite and just completely remove myself from everybody. Is that it?
I did not say that, Raya.
But that's what you're thinking, though, isn't it?
Of course not, Raya.
That's what I seem to think you all want from me.
No.
I mean, he'll move quite fast, and he won't spend rage or anything, but he'll get right into her face. Be careful, we don't want Aiden to get off his leash now, do we?
Her jaw clenches when he is very abruptly in her face, but she let's roll willpower real fast to see if she does flinch. Oh, she just barely clenches down on it. He might catch the faintest twitch, but she does not flinch back and away from him.
Because we wouldn't dare want him to get off his chain now, would we?
We are not rabid animals to be leashed and chained, Raya.
You stare at her quite intensely. And I suppose you think... What? Why does he need to keep reminding me of stuff I already fucking know, Tempoint? Why are you always there? I know you're on Omega and I get that. It's fine. But you're always there. watching me. What are you so fucking afraid of? And he will roll some intimidation. And that's 3.
That's more than I even have willpower for. I got 1. Yay, that's still 2.
I mean, yeah, he snarls and goes right up so you can feel his breath up against yours.
Oh, yeah. She, she didn't flinch on the initial contact, and good for her. She, doesn't full body scoot back, but she definitely leans back in a way and cringes somewhat. She's doing her best to like give the illusion of composure, but she's about like a good twitch from him from scrambling. It's nothing, Raya. I've obviously been overconcerned and too blatant in my concern.
I'm gonna pee the fuck out of that. Is it peony or with subterfuge?
For detecting a lie?
Yeah, I can't remember what we're rolling now. I can't remember at all.
I'd say do with subterfuge or perception subterfuge. One or the other.
Yeah, perception subterfuge. Fuck it, the higher dice pool.
Yeah, if you get any successes, it's definitely evasive. It's not an outright lie. She's trying to convince herself that it's her fault. And saying as much.
I'm gonna make that strength intimidation roll now, because he's gonna pick up Darcy. You know, charisma. That seems to be the better option for Aiden. That's sweet pure breed. Not as intimidating as last time, where he just like walks over, basically follows, except this time he'll reach over for Darcy and just begin to just grind her along the floor, more like.
And she gets a little lower and actually like having her hands on the floorboards at this point, kind of, you'll catch her taking like the tiniest scoot back.
And he'll stop, look at Darcy, and put the shillelagh down, and he'll walk over to one of the noticeable bottles on the fucking table, and we'll take that in his hand instead. And this will be manipulation, intimidation. Same dice pool anyway. He's changing his tactics. He's watched her. And that's 3 this time.
Yep. I'm gonna let it stand because she's a lot more scared of broken glass than she is of a club.
And what he'll do to demonstrate the role, he'll flip the glass over and just lightly just twist it to the point where you hear the crack and crunch. And he'll look over at her.
You know, somewhere along the way, she has managed to squirm her way back like a good proper foot a distance. Almost enough to start putting her back under the table on the porch.
You gonna keep lying to me?
No, Raya.
Then why are you shadowing me?
She works her jaw a bit and nervously licks her lips and hedges for a couple moments before finally kind of spitting it out. Because I see the twisted thing in your belly, Raya.
What did you say?
Because, Raya, you have leaked too much, and I have seen too much. And there is a twisted thing down in your belly.
And first of all, I'm going to spend some willpower. Aiden takes another rage. I'm just for everyone, so everyone knows I'm spending willpower. It's a fucking good thing I did. Whew. No frenzy, but oh dear Jesus, 10 point. Yeah, cool. Ooh, whew.
Sorry, I've got me a new thing, and I'm fucking with it a little bit. All right, that was special. Sorry. So he rolls and does not frenzy, which is good. She what outward show is there going to be as this roll is taking place?
I mean, it's to the point where she's seen Aiden frenzy, like he frenzies like that. Whereas when he resists, she'll see it. His eyes flare, his nostrils puff. I mean, he seems to almost largen, like he's almost readying to take Krynos form. And I mean, he just... I mean, you can hear his breathing, and his whole body is almost violently shaking with rage.
I'm going to say that considering that and the intimidation that was rolled, yeah, she is very abruptly on the far side of the table. She slips underneath and scampers across and makes sure that there is at least that between them, and will even go so far, given half the chance, to back up until she's got a hand on the rail, like she's willing to vault it.
And I mean, he'll whirl around like a dervish and start coming after her. She can tell he's not frenzied, but by God, you know.
Is that bottle still whole?
Nope, he's even forgotten the bottle. This is just from what you can say. Basically, from what you can tell, he's in his blind rage. He's just walking. The bottle drops, and you hear the psh, as he's just walking towards you, just blind fury.
But he does drop the broken bottle.
Oh yeah, you can definitely hear the smashing as it falls out of his hand.
She... Question is, which is she more afraid of? Let's roll a die. And she decides that getting him away from further improvised weapons is the better course of action, even though it's going to piss him the fuck off. And I'm going to roll Dex Athletics to quickly hop the rail as he's coming for her. She's not going to take off in a run afterwards, but she's getting off the porch.
Okay.
And with a fucking flourish, yeah, she just very simply, very readily plants the hand on the rail and twists and tucks her feet, hops right over it, and sticks the landing.
And what Aiden will do is he will spend rage because he can do that. So here's his Dex Athletics. No, yeah, Dex Athletics, yeah. Whoosh. Yep. And I'm assuming this is his rage spend because I'd say 4 to 5. How close is he towards her now?
Once he's gotten off over the rail,
Yep.
maybe
Yeah,
not
'cause that-
immediate hands reach, but close enough that he could make a quick move and grab her.
Actually, wait, no, that's 5 successes. There's 3 8s. Yeah, that's 5 successes.
Mm-hmm.
And he spent rage. So how close is he? I'm assuming.
Well, especially if you're spending rage, plenty close enough to grab her then. Otherwise, I imagine that she would backpedal a couple steps to make room for your landing, but not necessarily to, like, quote, get away.
And he will take aim.
For what? She is facing him.
The skull. Straight in the face. You're getting punched straight in the face.
Right in the dome?
Right in the dome. So he got 1. Ooh. Okay. So it's... How much is it for the head? A head for a punch to the head?
Yeah, it's +2 diff, +2 damage for a headshot.
Okay, lovely. So strength +1. 6. It's exactly 6. No damage, thankfully. You just get a straight punch to the face. It doesn't hurt, or I'm assuming it just.
I'm gonna assume it's one of those things where he barely makes
Mhm.
contact. Maybe it's because
Yeah.
she jerked back a bit, but for whatever
Mhm.
reason, he clips her enough to make the bells rattle, but
That makes
doesn't
him
get a good one.
angrier. He's going to spend. Well, actually, yeah. What does 10 point do? Because I say a turn has passed.
At this point, she has accepted her fate for the most part because he doesn't have a bottle. I will say that between all the intimidation, she's probably taken a rage. But for the moment, she's at worst backpedaling a little bit.
And he will take aim again and spend a rage. Oh, jeez. So that's 7 this time. That's only just the 1, thankfully, because my Discord hates my damage dice. That's the first punch of the skull.
If you're going for the head, it is +2 diff. So there's-
I know. I already rolled my damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my damage. That's my damage roll.
Isn't that 2?
That's 1, I believe. Oh, no, it's 2. Sorry, it's 2. Yeah, Jesus.
Okay. We'll soak.
That's Matt's turn. Matt's, come on.
It's okay. I'm here to remind you that you hit me harder than that. She soaks it.
He did spend rage, and he takes aim again. So it's +2 diff. That's 2. Oh, that's precise as well. That would be 3, wouldn't it? With precise.
With precise, absolutely.
Oh, lovely. That is just the 1 because Discord, like I said, hates my damage dice.
Maybe she's getting used to the beatings. You don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, she must be because she soaked it. So yeah, whether it's the fact that she's tilting her head to like take it like a headbutt or whatever the reason, she's not reeling.
The onslaught continues as he goes for the headbutt. Straight in the dome. Misses. Botches. Nearly falls over. Probably hitting off his antlers.
Yep.
So do you want me to roll damage for that, just for the lulz?
For the lulz? Sure. Let me look up what the fuck Gore even does for damage real quick. I have it on her sheety sheet. Open it. There we go. View. 2-page. Gore does strength +1 bashing.
Oh god, this is going to hurt him so badly. There we go then. I'll roll his bashing. And of course, I do really well on myself.
So good.
I soak 1 of that. Of course.
So you take 2 bashings worth of like slammed right into the point of one of her antlers. She looks horrified.
I'm assuming he'd take a rage for that, wouldn't he?
Probably. She puts
Yeah.
her hands up in a, that helpless fashion and continues to back away.
And here it comes. Yeah, you just hear because he just spends more rage and just starts hitting up right at her skull, screaming about how fucking stupid her fucking antlers are. His blood is pouring down his face, and there you go. Soak 3.
Did he try to headbutt her and hit her in the antlers?
Yep, he botched. He hit her straight in the fucking antlers.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. That's what, 1, 2, 3.
3. Yeah.
None of it soaked that time. So this time he gets angry enough. He clocks her really fucking good.
And then because he
and considering what her stamina is, kind of puts her for a loop.
Here we go again. 10 point. And he thankfully misses. Just swinging randomly.
Good. She's still stunned for the next round.
And he's not going to aim for the head this time. But he is going to swing because this onslaught is not stopping. That's 2. That's 5, yeah. Just again. Soaked. Spend rage. Aimed.
Feels the thump, but she's gotten hardy.
Oh. Ooh, okay. No, he aimed, so it's only 2. That's okay. It's okay.
That's 3 because precise.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that. Please soak a moderate amount of that 10 point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's to the head now.
I will soak 2 of the 5. So I had 3, and that's 3 more. I think it's safe to say that after 2, 3 damage slugs in the face, she would have healed one of the bashing. So she's still at 5, and she's probably going to go ahead and like topple onto her ass after 2 good clocks to the head.
And he will not aim for the head this time, but he will kick into the body.
It will probably be a lot easier to hit her body because she is going to bring up her arms to protect her head at this point.
And that's a lot of successes because she's on the ground, isn't she? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's another 2.
I will soak 2 of it. Yep, soaked it.
He will spend his final rage point, aim for the body again. Actually, no, he'll aim for the body because it's just fucking easier for him. Take away the 8, the 10, and the 9. That's 3, isn't it? Or is it 2?
It's what? You're just hitting a regular, right?
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus 2 is 3. Yeah.
Perfect.
She will be down to 4 now. And soak 1 of that, so back up to 6.
And the final rage spend. Oh. Take away the 9 and the 10. That's another 3. It's 5.
Is this the same round, like another rage spent,
yep.
Or is this?
This is the final rage spend. That was his regular. This is his rage, and that's 5.
Okay. So she was at 6 again. Oh yeah, she is beat real good. In fact, that puts her up to what, 4 in lethal? As it rolls over. So yeah, what was the last shot?
The last shot, he'll just walk up, and you'll hear, she'll actually look up, and she'll just see the snarling rage, as he rolls up, and you hear, you want to see a fucking festering beast? He just stamps right down on her chest. So
here's a question: if she's full open to the pack link, how much of his of that nasty is leaking?
It's more cold, efficient.
Okay, so it's none
Yeah,
of the
it's more
nasty
cold.
she was looking for.
Oh no, it's there. It's like I said, there's this snarling, deep-seated, dark feeling of just I will want to fucking massacre you. You know, it's
And
got.
yeah,
That's what I mean. It's just this very dark feeling. You know, it's this pure, unbridled fury.
yeah, the boot heel hits her fucking breastbone, and several ribs snap, and she is like forcibly propelled to the dirt. Fucking goes out cold. She'll actually be there for a hot second. Because lethal takes longer.
And because he blew a shitload of rage, he collapses against the cabin wall, exhausted, panting.
No one reverts to breed, because I keep forgetting that happens when you go unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for a little bit there, he gets to watch the shallow, very shallow rise and fall of her chest as she starts knitting. Over time, he'll hear more popping as things return where they're supposed to be. See her chest kind of fill out a bit more, back up to where it's supposed to be, because ribs are a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll eventually blink awake in the dirt. You can tell she's awake because between the blinking and nothing else, if nothing else, her tail will immediately curl.
Mm-hmm. She'd probably look up and see Aiden just touching his face, where he's literally busted himself open because he was, in his rage, he headbutted the fucking antlers,
She kind of shrivels up. She's got the tail tucked already, but the limbs pull in. She makes herself as small as a Krynos really can.
He does not say a single thing. Like, I'm assuming his knuckles are really fucking bruised as well, because, and he just sits there. I'll actually get the appropriate picture for this as well.
And yeah, she'll especially when he doesn't make a move to her. Oh, and he really does even have the fucked up knuckles. Damn.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. Fucking perfect. And assuming he doesn't move on her, at least initially.
You get the impression from Aiden that I don't think he's even aware you're there.
She'll roll onto her belly, watching him cautiously the entire time. And will slowly slink with her belly practically on the dirt. And will eventually end up slumped off to his side. And will poke her muzzle apologetically up under his hand.
Yeah, the silence continues from Aiden. He doesn't speak. He just stares out and probably out on it again, looking out into the steppe.
Did he spend himself out?
Yep.
Jesus.
And yeah, 10 point would have been, it would have been like a darkened web, almost that feeling of hitting her like that. That level of rage is very unusual for Ragbat. It's just this very dark, sort of cold rage,
And she'll keep her muzzle under his hand. And via the pack link, we'll kind of stretch out inquisitively in his direction to see how he responds to a mental touch.
It's sort of you feel him react. He almost twitches his own body, but it's like touching. You know when you touch an infected wound, if you get me. Like for 10 point mentally, it feels like that. That it feels like you just lay your hand on a kind of hot, sweaty, infected wound.
Here's the part where it gets interesting. Is he walled off at all?
Nope.
She going in.
Oh dear Jesus. All right, you going in? Okay. What are you exactly doing to push into that? I'm wondering.
Essentially, if his mind is completely open, she's taking the opportunity and exploring what's there and trying very carefully not to trigger too much, trying not to interact with his thoughts and his feelings in the moment, and is doing her best to present herself emotionally as a cool and soothing kind of presence. Because especially when something's heated and infected, I mean, hopefully it won't cause him to recoil or slam up his walls and push her out.
So, 10 point. When you go in and push into that infected wound, so to speak, you are immediately almost, I don't know how to describe this, but you'd be almost jumped into an area and you see a younger version of Aiden. He's not as shaggy as he is here. You see the father getting shot, and you just feel a cold, bridled rage build up almost inside you from Aiden's eyes. The fact that it's very unusual. Yes, it's a frenzy in the first change, but it just seems to be this pit of bottomless rage. You feel the guilt and the self-hatred that he failed his family. You also feel the helplessness in him. That no matter what he does, it never seems to work. And the only thing he has left almost is that rage. So you can get the impression that this has taught him to breathe, to function as a guru. The only thing he relies on is that level of rage.
So especially as she feels the echo of it in herself by essentially sympathetically reliving this moment with him, can she hunt for, essentially she's trying to use like to find like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you feel it right in the bottom of it. It's almost like you're traveling out of his head down into his stomach, and then you puncture through the intestines and you feel that there it is, this festering, almost like a taint, not quite a taint, but that kind of darkness in him. And then when you push into it, you see the savagery. You get clips of Aiden's savagery, how he killed you point blank see how he killed that woman on his fostering challenge, and how he killed the Fomori. You see the brutality.
Oh, right. Let me look up a thing. And this is purely artsy-fartsy and mechanically will only affect him physically, but it is up to you how you want to roleplay these shenanigans. Let me just find this. And while she is, she probably even has her eyes shut at this point to better immerse herself in the pack link, having let herself go as much as possible, besides trying very hard to culture a sense of cool, calm. And actually, I'm gonna pull up the roller here, and I'm gonna roll for Mother's Touch.
Right.
And I will spend a Gnosis. And since you're flagged out, but it bottoms out at 3.
My rage is 2.
Oh, your rage is 2? That's
my rage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Yeah, I'm assuming you heal. All the damage is healed.
All the damage is healed. But the point is that she is, in expending the gift, is going to be sitting down there mentally. And that horrible twisted place in his belly. And expending the gift, which will absolutely heal him physically. But is trying to... She can't make it affect him emotionally or mentally, but she can try to give the impression to him that it should by believing it wholeheartedly to see if it has some sort of effect.
When you do, you push in with this sort of healing effect, and you do get these feelings of caring and devotion. You actually see, to be honest, you see that girl he's talked about, Darcy. You see all these very positive things, even with you, Banshee, Balian. You see all these things, and you do feel that there is that chance for Aiden. And you do feel it. Like, even you see his fingers soften from that vice-like grip he seems to have on his leg. And you see his eyes kind of soften. But then you're almost hit yourself visually with that face of the man who murdered his father and that self-loathing.
And she will do her best to counter by conjuring up in her mind's eye an image to face down the one he's showing her of himself and his pack mates and his friends standing in rank with him right at the forefront, front and center, with the shillelagh cocked on his shoulder.
Oh. And that's 10 point is when you see something through his eyes. You see him killing Saoirse brutally, ripping her throat out. You actually see him disembowel Banshee. You see him bite the throat out of Balian. You see him kill you, ripping your jaw apart. And you see him trailing down a spiral, and at the end of the spiral path is that same man. And you're transported to the vision that Aiden saw in Malpheus.
The best she can think to do is to sternly reinforce what she already had. Or actually, when he first joined the pack, he was embraced by Banshee and Balian as if they were a mother and father welcoming him home. And while 10 Point wasn't partaking fully in it, she was still there. Even if she was down around his feet, she was still there and still supportive. So she will sub out, much as his vision spirals into this horrible thing, she insistently projects this image, probably from her view, because it's the only one she can offer, where he came to the pack and joined the pack and was welcomed into their home like family.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't provide his emotions to it, but she can certainly provide an open flush of her own.
Eventually, the big thing, it's not this more need to murder these things. 10 Point is almost nearly overwhelmed with the sense of fear from Aiden, but eventually it subsides as he just stares. You get the image, that image, he just seems to visually relax, but you definitely see his hands shake as he just puts them over his own eyes. And you feel the gradual return of his walls begin to come up as he almost sort of snaps himself out of it.
And she will quickly pull herself out. Especially with the walls coming up. She doesn't have much of a choice, really. She just is essentially expelled. And she'll open her eyes again. She's still perfectly open. And especially if his hands are coming up to his eyes physically, she is going to treat him to the reverse of what he did for her when she was hurting. And while he's trying to get his senses back around him, will sit herself up and gather him up and pull him into her massive shaggy lap and put her massive furred arms around him.
Again, yeah, doesn't say a word. He just seems silent and staring. You can tell he just hasn't really the wherewithal to kind of even sense himself yet, as he eventually... You do see small tears coming down his face almost as he still shakes, and eventually he just blinks and sits back up and just stares at you.
Yeah, he is lodged in Meta's lap. He's surrounded by cooties. But more importantly, he's surrounded by the very real care and very real concern that she has, and is openly bleeding into the pack link where he can find them readily.
What are you doing, 10 Point?
I am making sure you don't forget, Raya.
I'm fine.
It's easy to get lost, Raya. I'm just making sure you can find home.
I can't find home yet. Not until have cleansed myself. Because if I don't, you just stop. Well, I'm assuming you saw everything.
You will get the atonement you need, Raya.
He'll just nod slowly. I'm not weak.
You're not. But I would never try to call you weak, Raya. The thought never crossed my mind.
And actually, before the walls actually finally close up, when he says, I'm not weak, you get a flash of him as a cub on Sept nearly beating someone to death. Like just this image, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just that flash from his perspective of him, like, beating someone bloody.
Yep, you hear the words that they will have his sister, and I'm sure I'll love to pay her a visit, and you feel that fury. You know? It almost like makes you even angry, like it's that level of rage, you know? And then just this first person visual of him beating someone, you know?
Oh yeah, she feels the flush of it. Thankfully, she has been a Gru for a long time. And she kind of shoulders it to where it belongs. You are not weak, Raya. You are not lacking. And you are not a threat to your pack. You are not a burden.
It feels like it.
And I am sorry if I have made you feel this way. I am the least suited.
Do you know why I hate runes, that mind?
Why, Raya?
They go on about how all this rage they have, how they understand it. You bite his lip. They don't understand it at all.
They do not wrestle with it, Raya. They press it into their claws, into their teeth. And they use it as a weapon.
They don't understand what it's like to be that every day. Festering.
I will do whatever it takes to relieve you of the burden, Raya.
Do you know, I have a theory that if I kill this man, maybe that screams. And that rage I feel. And that part of me that when I dip into it, I'm scared. Because it feels... I feel powerful when I do it, do you know? And I know what that is. And it frightens me.
Sometimes Luna is heavy-handed with her gifts, Raya. And she cannot appreciate the pain and the temptation that comes with it.
This feels like Luna's punishment rather than her gift, 10 point.
If I must try, I will pick apart the knot myself.
From day one, I was told I'm never meant to be like this. No laughing moon is meant to be like this. So that's why when I fight in a rune, I don't hold back.
Luna blesses us with one hand and curses us with the other. She is a fickle spirit, Raya.
Maybe the screams will stop when he's dead.
I will make it stop, Raya.
He'll just nod. And yet I'm the bad one they all call me, right?
Any who think this of you are shallow and short-sighted, Raya.
But they are right though, I am a savage. Aren't I?
No more than a proper warrior of Stag. No more than a Get Fenris, Raya. No more than any warrior of Gaia. This place prioritizes too much time and energy spent on coddling, spent on false smiles. It is hardly a fault that you do not waste your time with playing false constantly.
And yet, they poke and they prod and then they wonder. Like when, for example, like when they fucked that rock at me. And they asked me, why are you so angry? When you give your all for something, and you have that festering sickness, and they spit it in your face, how else are you supposed to be?
The ones whose opinions matter, Raya, remember what you have done.
Like I said, it just feels like everyone pushes me. And they wonder why. I'm not unstable. But they wonder why I'm like this. And they have no idea.
This place is full of weakness, Raya. Weakness, coddling, pandering.
He'll just nod.
They do not want to understand, and they do not want to accept that they are just as bad. That they have the exact same urges, Raya.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see. He'll just slowly stand up and look very confused, tired, lost as he's just putting his hands in his pockets and start to walk towards the cabin.
And she'll follow, moving on all fours, regardless of being in Krynos. Just trailing a bit behind, trying not to be intrusive.
Yeah, he'll go into the cabin, and you'll see him go into his room and close the door.
And this time around, rather than being left on the porch or curling up elsewhere in the house, she is going to curl herself up protectively just outside his door, as if guarding the entrance.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to end up.
Probably.
Yes.
So with that, I'll say thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time on the Living World of Darkness. Rage across the fields.